Do I have anything to worry about, Roy, regarding other women?
RASA. Receive, appreciate, summarize, ask. This Charlie Kirk shooting in Utah.
What was it about this clip, then, that really shook you to the core?
So where would I want to move to? I have no idea, but it's not what I thought it was once upon a time.
Hey guys, welcome back to He Said, She Said.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Ned Schneebly.
How are you doing, Risey?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think I've got sciatica, so I'm sat like this and I can already feel my leg twitching. Not twitching, but just compressing a nerve.
I feel like sciatica is supposed to be really painful.
Well, I don't think it's like fully blown sciatica, but it's definitely related to that. I was riding my bike to school with Leo today and my foot on the pedal was, you know when you like catch a nerve and it like bounces and trembles uncontrollably?
No.
You've never had that when you like hit a nerve and your thing trembles?
What thing?
Your hand or your leg or your arm.
Yeah, no, I have shaky hands for sure.
Oh, anyway, sciatica's bitch.
Is it sore in your back?
It's like a constant, I was going to say dull, but it's more of a sharp pain in the background.
Nerve pain's pretty bad.
I've never had it before. It's really not great. I don't know what's caused it either because I've never had it before. Aside from that, I'm good, yeah. I might have to just keep wiggling my legs around.
You've got those new £20 Vans on.
I do. My summer canvas. How are you?
Yeah. I feel solid. I feel good mentally. Not too shabby physically either.
Good.
Do I have anything to worry about, Roy?
Regarding
other women.
What?
Well, I've noticed there have been a few people that have been interacting with you on social media.
Oh, go on. Spill the beans. I know where this is going already.
Khloé Kardashian liked your post on Instagram.
Oh, no.
As did a few other ladies.
Yes.
Nicole Scherzinger, who was always your hall pass. And
no, she wasn't my hall pass. She was like, if she is my hall pass, that's also cool. But she was my number one for a few years.
Many years. Your entire childhood was made up of posters of her on your wall.
No.
And also one of the Selling Sunset cast.
Yeah, which I didn't know she followed me, but apparently she does.
Well, do they all follow you as well?
So
yes.
Watch out. No.
No, they do.
No. Yes, for the podcast, let's say yes. They all follow me. Khloé follows me. She's always up in my grill. No. Yeah, it's kind of whack. All on the same evening as well.
So I'm lying in bed because Ryan and I hang out in separate rooms in the evening. I lie in bed.
The truth is that Louise goes to bed at 7 p.m. Yeah.
And Ryan scuttles up the stairs and was like, "Hey, look at this! Khloé Kardashian follows me," and liked my photo. And then about 20 minutes later, I get a screenshot of a message. God, I'm really making you sound super lame here.
Yeah, thanks for this.
She's also liked your post.
No. She doesn't follow me. She likes my post. And then the screenshot I sent you was Nicole Scherzinger, like 10 minutes later, did the same thing. And I was like, what is happening? I've never, ever fallen into the slipstream of viral videos, but apparently I'm in one right now.
Don't pretend you don't know exactly what you were doing.
What? I posted a video from this podcast and it's gone viral many times.
So Ryan posted the Kintsugi clip from the pod, He Said, She Said, which we've shared on our pages, I think, before. And Ryan thought he'd try it out on a trial reel, which is not something we've really experimented with.
Why are we saying we? Yes, we have shared pages.
You posted it on your page using a trial reel.
Yeah.
And it's gone mental.
I actually haven't looked at what it's basically got 3 million views. And my Instagram obviously doesn't have millions of followers yet. But it's wild because you posted it however many months ago and it got millions of views and massive engagement. And I thought I'd just try it on Instagram Reels, on the trial reels. And I don't really do things that Instagram prompts you to do in terms of here's the new tricks for being discovered.
Some people do though.
No, I know. I really know. And I've never been that person. It's just, I don't know. I'm always the slowest to the party in that sense. But I just thought, you know what? Let me try this because I need some growth on the old channels here. And oh my gosh, it's taken off in a massive way.
So basically, if anyone out there is trying to grow their platform, throw a couple of viral worthy trial reels up and you gained like 10,000 followers overnight.
14,000.
14,000. Isn't that insane? So then what's kind of uncool about this is that I thought, oh, sweet, I'll do the same thing. And I thought I'd post the exact same video up into the Ethernet. Is that even a thing? Just sounds good. And I think it's got 6,000 views, which is cool. Whoa. Then I mentioned it to Sam because he's kind of an icon over on social media. And I was just querying the whole trial reels thing with him. And he was like, no. Like, you don't need to be doing that. That's just going to drag down your engagement. So really, we're not sat here talking from an expert point of view when it comes to social media strategy.
I think just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I
think you can post 5 trial reels a day. Got to have a lot of time to be doing that.
You've got to have a lot of time and a lot of videos, yeah. Anyway, that's enough about that. That was kind of fun, though. You've had some surgery last week. You've had some stuff removed.
I guess you could call it surgery.
I had to patch you up before school this morning.
I know, you did it really in a kind of very cute but funny way. As I explained it to you as you were patching up my back, you patched up my back in the same way that you eat with a knife and fork.
Delicately.
So delicately. You're like always having a go at me for having really shaky hands, but you've got this really funny technique where you just like, so when you've got a knife and a fork, you like maneuver that cutter around the plate so quickly. You're like scraping things around and putting like tiny peas.
That's not delicate if it's moving stuff around quickly and...
No, but quickly, but like with the finesse and like... And you like scrape like tiny bits of food from over there onto your fork. And when it came to putting my plasters, these like bandages on my back, you were like, there was a lot of patting down like very, very quickly. Why'd you do that?
Well, you got stitches in your back. So I was like, let me first clean it and do the anti-back towelette thing. And then I got some like, what do you call it?
Gauze.
Yeah. Gauze padding. And then I was like, oh, God, I don't actually have like the proper tape. So then I used plasters to go on the corners and I was padding those down like this, like stroking them down. And it's like in the crease of your shoulder blades. So I was like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And then we ended up just putting a regular plaster down, I think.
I look like one of those old teddy bears that's had like its eye stitched on with a button 10 times. Honestly, it was a bit ridiculous. So I went and had a skin mapping consultation last week, which was something that actually landed in my inbox, into my agent's inbox. And it was a kind of a comp
I've been offered the same
opportunity you have. And it was very convenient because it was in Chelsea, not far from the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, actually. I thought, okay, why not? So I'll pop down. And I thought I was just going to have a quick chat and I lie down on the bed with this lady. Anyway, she gets this microscope out and starts putting it over every single mole on my body, which is good. I've got a lot of them. And she sees 3 actually on the top of my back that don't look good. She zoomed in on them, took some pictures, showed me on the screen, and they were pretty asymmetrical. And they looked dodgy. They were tiny, actually. So it's funny, when it comes to moles, it's not necessarily the ones that you think are going to get flagged that are the ones that are potentially dangerous. So I would have thought I've got some bigger ones, some that really stick out of my body that are pretty unattractive. And she was like, no, those are not a problem. I've got one on my boob that she then said you get with old age, which made me feel really hideous. And she was like, no, it's more of like, it's not a wart. But she was like, oh no, it's
oh my fucking Christ.
She was like, no, this is fine. It's like not a skin tag, but basically you can just like shave it off or burn it off with a cream.
Oh my God. No, between this and your verruca feet, oh my God.
Fuck off. I don't have verrucas. Yeah, so anyway, she had like a good odd look. I learned a lot actually from this appointment. I won't spend the whole episode talking about this. But skin cancer is a lot more prevalent than anyone might know. Yeah. It's really easily treated if it's caught early. And sort of, I think between like 89 to 92% of melanoma cases, which are the dangerous ones, are caused by UV light. So really just sun exposure. And it's not just being out in the sun, it's actually being under any light during the day.
What, like these spotlights?
If they've got UV light in them, then yes. So I believe that those, the kind of like nail machines and salons, they've got UV light in. Obviously, the sun carries a lot of UV light.
You're now going to have to wear a rash vest the whole time then. Like,
I am a vampire anyway, but now I'm always going to apply factor 50 onto my hands, my face, my neck, and my décolletage, which is a word I really like saying.
What's a colletage?
Décolletage.
What the hell's that?
It's this area, your chest, where your necklaces lie.
Right, so is that like
the
a
portrait
upmarket
bust,
version
basically.
of cleavage then?
Well, I don't really have a big cleavage, so
Louise
I guess
calls
you
it
could
a
say-
colletage. Is that what it's called?
It's not a colletage, it's a décolletage.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah, say it.
Say it one more time.
Décolletage.
Décolletage. No, you haven't.
Décolletage. It's probably French. Say it.
Décolletage.
I think it's got a little acute accent somewhere. So I'm going to be covering up.
You can cover up anywhere. I told you this on the podcast a few weeks ago. You were the one person on the sunbeds in Marbella who was head to toe in 2 towels, just your face poking out. You already do cover the décolletage up.
I do cover décolletage.
Louise décolletage.
So unfortunately, I guess for me, like I've got quite a few risk factors for skin cancer.
Awesome.
When I sat down, she asked me these questions. Have you been sunburnt more than 5 times in your life? Have you?
Me? No. But I can remember the times where I
I
have been.
believe you. No.
You mean like proper sunburn?
Yeah.
I told you before. One time my granddad on the beach in Poole or somewhere when we were kids, he fell asleep and we were kids making sandcastles, burying each other and whatever else. And I came back with like pink legs because I got sunburnt. And the other time was in Australia when I got that overcast day in Airlie Beach in Cairns or somewhere like that. And I just assumed that I was safe. And I actually blistered on my face, as in bobbly blisters on my face and back. It was the worst.
That's probably what's caused the sun damage on your face.
Oh,
the
100%.
skin
Yeah.
damage.
I never had this freckle. This one's now actually gone thanks to my
New lotions and potions.
my new regimes.
So it's really damaging. When I was younger, we used to go away practically on tan parties. That was what a holiday was. We used to do a thing called burn and then turn. We'd literally burn almost on purpose and then use a cream called Biafine, which is like a medical cream that's used for intense burns that then turns your skin darker brown.
I mean, that is...
And we'd put carrot oil on our tummies and we'd do tanning competitions. And
well, that explains your skin then.
well, no, I also think I've got the genetic mole situation, which is a thing. So I guess like, you know, a white person has white skin, a black person has black skin. The moles are, it's in my DNA. So they haven't just come out because of sun exposure. It's my colouring. It's like, you know, I've got pale skin with black circles on me. And that's not just because I've been in the sun. So Leo has never really been in the sun and he's always got high factor on his skin. And he's got a couple of moles that have come through, which will be a genetic thing versus a sun damage thing. The other risk factors are I'm actually on an immunosuppressant, which can increase the risk of skin cancer, which they never told me like verbally when I was prescribed it, which apparently is not a great practice. They should really say that. And then what are the other things? I think largely like sunbeds. Sunbeds increase your risk hugely.
So basically,
back in the day
stick
when
to
sunbeds
the
used
fake
to...
tan and the rash vests for you then, or even a wetsuit at this point.
And I guess actually I did write something down.
Who's in a wetsuit on the beach?
Because I think that for she actually, the lady was very kind and she said that you should go in too because you've got lots of freckles as well. And we should really be going yearly. And I spoke about it publicly on my TikTok page and someone actually replied to me and said that if you've got over 100 moles on your body that you have a specific condition. Shall I actually see if they've replied? It's called atypical mole syndrome. It's important to know if you have more than 100 moles on your body, you may have that condition. I think I've got several hundred. I've probably got 1,000, to be honest.
What?
I do. And then one of the things that this lady taught me, which I did write down because I just wanted to get this bit off my chest because then I feel like I'm doing good, is if you do have moles on your body and you want to kind of keep an eye on them, there's a rule, which is the ABCDE rule, which is pretty easy to remember. and it's for melanoma, which is probably the most intense kind of skin cancer. So there are three kinds really: basal cell, squamous cell, carcinomas, and then melanomas. Melanomas are the ones that can spread the most quickly to other organs. And the ABCDE rule stands for asymmetry, border irregularity, color variation, diameter, and evolving or changing. And I did have 3 removed, and I wasn't preparing for that. I didn't enjoy it. It's definitely better to be safe. I've got a 2-week wait now while the biopsies are happening. And she's going to let me know when I go back in anyway to have the stitches taken out.
Good.
But I'll be taking an awful lot of care now whenever I'm outside. Even if you're hanging your arm out of the window in a car, I think it's important to be super safe with these kinds of things. And actually also, I know that people take the piss out of me for wearing a baseball cap and looking like a child when I'm on holiday, but you can get it on your head as well.
What? A mole?
Yeah. Actually, my brother's got a big mole on his head. I remember it being something that was flagged. I say big, sorry, that makes it sound a little unusual. But I remember he had a mole on his head as we were growing up.
God, the allure of the Thompsons is quickly wearing off on this episode.
Oh my God. Well, last weekend you decided that you had married into the wrong family.
Last weekend? What was last weekend?
As in the weekend that we just had a few days ago.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
Do you think you have ADHD?
No, I've just got trauma from you lot.
But you felt really overstimulated. You had to actually leave everyone in my family and come and sit in a separate room for 10 minutes.
That's not ADHD. That's just taking a time out. Any normal person would do the same thing.
It wasn't actually that funny when my dad was cleaning up so quickly that he cut his hands 5 times. The sink then turns into a blood bath, and then a knife ends up down in the floor.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like a massive carving knife just slipped out of his hands. Wedged into the woodwork.
There's a lot going on that Sunday.
A lot going on.
So that Sunday, if you want to use that as the example, that's a good segue into another thing we could talk about around listening. Because I feel like the Thompsons are not the best listeners in general. I think what they're very good at is just broadcasting. Broadcasting their own personal messages. So when you've got your dad in the room, your brother, you, and obviously little Leo's got a little bit of that Thompson gene in him as well. No one's listening to absolutely anything anyone else has got to say. Everyone's just waiting for their turn to entertain the room. And everyone does it very well, but it's chaotic to watch. It's funny at times. Other times I'm like, get me out of this room.
Because
that's when I came in here with my bowl of ice cream and berries. I was like, just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
I thought that you might have had quite a relaxed day because you didn't have to do the cooking or the cleaning up for a change. And you were quite passive. You were a bit of a passenger. You were just sat there loading your plate full of food that had been cooked for you.
It was a different...
So the fact that you even found it too much, you had to leave the room was quite a lot.
No. You know it was a lot. You're very much in it, so you don't see it. But it's fine. It's entertaining. I mean, it's better to be memorable than not. In between your dad dancing around to
Barry
White with carving knives and whatever else, and then you've got Sam trying to film me doing a nonchalant frog sound at the dinner table, and I'm like, where's that idea come from?
I know, it is chaotic.
I'm trying to have lunch, and you want me to look down the camera and go ribbit in like a flirty way. I'm like, I don't get it.
What is that?
I don't know.
What he was saying, couldn't be a nonchalant, flirty animal and make a noise.
Anyway, to date this, to thread this to Leo, it's really interesting because he's now in preschool, the final room at nursery before he goes on to big school in 2026. And his teachers, when I pick him up, they often say, they often, to be truthful, they say he's doing really well. And he's getting a lot better at sort of the self-play and the sharing and the listening to instructions. And that's the key point. He's getting much better at listening. And I think that this should be a heavy emphasis in school because it's a real skill to listen in a conversation, even with small people.
The coolest thing that happened last week, Leo, was that you came back and said that he'd had the best day he's ever had and that his focus is getting really good and that he started doing these puzzles. We do lots of jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
Which feels like a really fun activity to do. because you get that like huge like surge of dopamine when you finish it and that sense of achievement. So we love puzzles in this household. But he started doing the puzzles and he would do them over and again. And he then found a sand timer in the corner of the classroom and started timing himself to see whether he could do the puzzles more quickly than the last time.
It's wild, that, isn't it?
So when you came home and told me that, that's the first time I felt like one of those really cringy parents that wants to share something about their kids' achievements to other people. And then I had visions of him like doing chess at school.
Have you not seen the video of him doing it at school?
Yeah, I watched it with him last night, and then he wanted to watch it again and again. Super cute. Anyway, back to listening.
Well, no,
clearly
I just think
no,
clearly not. Good example. Listening is a skill, and Leo having 50% of you in him, he's going to have the urgency in conversation to chime in. But I think what his nursery is doing really well, and jiu-jitsu, even though we haven't been for quite a long time, it really forces them to listen carefully, because conscious listening really creates that understanding in situations, and you could extrapolate that to adult life and further into conflict around the world. But without properly listening to people in conversation, there's so much that's missed. And I'm now doing these letters to Leo weekly. This morning I actually published my third letter. I'm not using Substack, I'm using something else, but I've got like 70 subscribers now, which is kind of cute.
Cool. Is this your newsletter?
I'll put the link in show notes. Yeah, I'm using that as a chance to, like, you know, just from my perspective, write a letter to Leo, which I am sharing publicly, but it's all addressed to Leo, and it's a little bit of maybe a bit more insight into Ryan versus like shared parents, and I'm giving advice in different ways, basically.
I think that's the cutest thing.
Thanks.
That you've ever done.
That's why I was.
And
up
I
this
did
morning.
actually read one of them.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 that I've published. I've written 6, but 3 have gone out. You never quite know how it's been received because it's a sort of newsletter that arrives in people's inbox. So
it's a one-way train.
Yeah, you can see the sort of open. What do you call it? Like the
open rate. You can probably
rate.
see the retention rate. You'll be able to see how long people have spent reading them.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's starting off small, but it feels very nice to do it, and actually, it's coming to me very easily.
At what age do you think you will?
Yeah, I said that in that letter.
Give the letters.
I was like, I'm not sure what age you'll read this, but I actually linked in something about us potentially expanding the family. I was like, you might even be reading this to your future sibling. Who knows?
Wow.
So it's that kind of dialogue, but wrapped in within that letter, there is a little bit of advice or maybe insight from me to other parents.
It's a very cool thing to do.
Yeah, it feels cool. I'm gonna really put a lot of focus into that. It feels like at times it's like, is anyone going to read this? You know, and is one letter a week enough? You never quite know what the formula is, but if it feels good, then just do it, I think.
I feel like that's probably how most really successful blogs have started.
Yeah, you've got to start small, haven't you?
And very authentic.
Yeah. It's a bit like this podcast, though. We started this podcast in the kitchen. We never thought that we'd get like however many thousand downloads each week, and now we are. And it's the same. Maybe it's going to be the same. Maybe Khloé
Kardashian.
Maybe the Kardashian will subscribe to my. Maybe the whole family will subscribe to Leo. Letters. I can't speak today. Letters to Leo.
Love that.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to arrive at with this whole listening thing, I've got an acronym.
Okay.
I know that you've dropped an acronym already, but I've got one of my own.
Nice.
And it's something that people can, because I guess there is a bit of a synchronicity with this whole topic of listening within this podcast, right? We're trying to support and facilitate and encourage good conversation in relationships, friendships, at home, at the workplace. So listening is very key to that. And an acronym you can take away with you is RASA. And it stands for receive, appreciate, summarize, and ask. So receive, so you're kind of looking towards me, you're giving me the body language that you're listening. Appreciate is when you give it like you just did it actually, when you go, and just give me any signal to say that you're like following the trail of this conversation. Summarize is a good way. So you know when people say, okay, so in a conversation. So I do it
So
all the
you
time.
feed it back.
Yeah,
like
so
what you've
someone was telling me
understood from a
about this
conversation.
interview they had with a potential recruiter for a job. And I was like, all right, so what I'm getting from this conversation so far is they want you to do it. And I was like, I use so much. I use so an awful lot in conversation, but it's a good way of summarizing what someone's told you. Because when you give it back to someone, they're like, you really are listening. This is great. And then to back that up even further, this is when I start scratching my head because I'm into this. you ask questions. You ask questions.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to maybe pass this episode to boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, mum, dad, and be like, I wish this girl would listen better.
Yes.
RASA, receive, appreciate, summarize, ask. Think about that.
I think we need to literally land that clip into Mike Thompson's inbox.
Never going to work.
Sam Thompson's inbox.
No, do you know
Probably
what?
my
I thought
inbox
about
as
this
well.
in the shower this morning. This is kind of weird, but I was like, God, me and Sam get on so well these days. Like, he's become a real brother. And I mean that. And I'm like, what is that? What has actually changed so tremendously? Like, moving away from all of the like stuff that's happened in the family. And it's because he listens. It's no longer a one-way channel of like noise with us. He doesn't just talk at me. He genuinely asks me questions. And I will, and it's just become such a different relationship. So honestly, there you go. I think that acronym is great. Let me check that you were listening. What's the acronym?
ASMR? No, I'm joking.
Could be ASMR.
Ask.
No.
Wait, sorry. Hang on. Acknowledge. No, wait.
Oh God, this is going terribly. I'm gonna have to ask the room. You're gonna have to ask the audience.
No. I need to get it. No, hang on. Okay, I know the last one is ask a question. Yeah. I know that the second last one is repeat.
No, it's not.
It's repetition. Repeating. No, you're like summarize. Sorry, it's summarized. There's the second last one because you're summarizing it back to them.
Yeah.
So acknowledge is the so is appreciate is acknowledge is the nodding the heads and the
Does anyone know what the first
and the first one is listen. What's the first one?
Charlie knows.
Yeah, receive.
Charlie's listening, or maybe she's typing it.
The bloody notes. So wait, so just to summarize that for you, right? That's
Rasa.
I was going to say repeat. It's receive.
Rasa.
Appreciate, summarize, ask. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put that into practice.
So I really think that listening is an important skill. I think that Leo should continue to be taught that skill at school. And actually, as a parent, at least from my side, I'm going to really emphasize that skill because social media in general, the way people are these days, it's very bold and big and people are grabbing for attention. There's so much subtle detail and understated stuff that we miss because we're not listening properly. And I just think the greatest relationships I have with people in different walks of life is built on can they, will they, do they listen to me? And actually, you could say that about a relationship. You probably feel most comfortable, loved and secure when you know that I've heard you and I've listened to you. Mm. So many people move so quickly through this world currently, it feels. And this leads me on to something that hit the press with this Charlie Kirk shooting in Utah, Utah Valley campus, university campus. I watched this clip by myself. And honestly, as I told you, sat on that sofa there, it was the single most scary thing I've seen in real life.
I know, you actually came and found me in the house and said, I've just seen something that's shaken me up more than anything else I've ever seen, which I was quite surprised by actually, because you watch a lot of very gruesome movies and series.
Well, when you say gruesome, you mean just like action-packed, like people getting shot and whatever
blood,
else.
guts, gore. You've also seen me in hospital with pipes coming out of my butt and my abdomen and all sorts. And what was it about this clip then that really shook you to the core?
I think what I saw from you was more painful. This was more scary.
Do you know what's scary about that is that is on the internet. So before things like social media, the press basically were the ones responsible for what was shared. And there would be certain things that would be protected, or as in we would be protected from. The fact that that's on YouTube and there'll be people's kids
Well,
that are out there on YouTube that might stumble across that is pretty shocking. But that does make me think, who was filming? I suppose people in the auditorium would have been filming the lecture because that's what people do now, to probably record the conversation. And he was quite a big political figure, right?
yeah, he was. Here's what I pulled some research on him, because I actually don't know too much about this chappie. All I really could connect with, that he was the father of two, and this guy's been shot in broad daylight on a university campus because he just had some opinions that weren't well received or listened to, or really allowed to be in existence. An American conservative political activist, author and media personality, he's had the greatest impact with mobilizing the youth and molding younger generations who vote into the Conservative Party, which is Trump's kind of game, right?
So
he speaks to these younger generations, and that's why he's often seen at schools or universities or colleges.
He's become a bit of a public figure, if you like. So I suppose what's interesting is he wouldn't have had, because he's not a politician, right? He wouldn't have the security that someone like Trump will have. I think the thing that I got from you when we spoke about it was that you were really upset because he had two young kids.
No, yeah.
So it felt,
but it just looked
like it could have been you.
It just looked like it could have. Yes, it looked like it could have been anyone. It looked so easy, and it happened in such a public, open space. It was just completely shocking to see that can actually happen. And like you say, the laws and gun laws in America is just, I will never understand it, really. Well, I can, because we've touched on this conversation before, but America is such a sprawling land, and obviously, lots of farms and ranches, and hunting as a sport is one thing, but what you've got now is just no regulation. You've got people who behave so disgustingly. People don't listen to each other in America, but the world in general. So you can't have an opinion because no one's really listening. All people are doing is just broadcasting their own beliefs in such an aggressive way. And people would say this about Charlie Kirk as well. They would say, he's fueling polarization, which is like separating society depending on what your opinions or beliefs are. It all felt too real and too easy and too close to home somehow. And I know that sounds strange because I have no idea who this chap is. And it's in America.
Well, the person who this chap is has obviously done this in an auditorium with people filming because they want it broadcasted so that people like us can
that's the whole,
talk about
the
it,
whole idea,
which is interesting.
Of rallying
but
voters.
I mean, there are 123 people that are shot in the US every day anyway, and that is a significant number. I mean, actually, I think around half of that is...
It's more than that. It's more than that. It's more like 300 in the US every day.
Really?
Yeah.
I do think having access to guns, that liberally is absolutely ridiculous in some states. There's no legislation at all. Anybody can go in and buy a gun and have it in their arms.
Yeah, but that's just got to stop.
That same day.
Yeah, that's got to stop.
Can you imagine if that was the case in this country?
Well, I know two blokes who've got gun cabinets at home in London.
In London?
Yeah, but it takes a lot to get to that point. You've got to be vetted by the police. You've got to show different licenses. You've got to have checks on security in your home. You've got to have a psyche test. You've got to have so much signed off.
They're shotguns, right?
Shotguns,
for shooting animals.
Well, even just clays, but yeah, sure, pigeons or...
So in this country, you're not allowed to have, pistols. What's a little like those little, like a...
2.2 rifle.
A rifle. Would it stop you from moving to America?
It would now.
Because I know quite a lot of people who are moving at the moment because they're not happy with the state of politics in this country. And they feel like the UK is changing too much and also the tax is too high. So I know a lot of people that are moving. I know some people that are moving to San Francisco. I know some people that are moving to New York. I have lots of friends that live in other countries internationally, whether it's Mexico or Singapore or Italy, Portugal, various different places. We can come on to that in a second. New York happens to actually be one of the states with the lowest gun crime. They do have tighter laws on it. And that is probably the one place that I would move to in the States. So perhaps that's a slightly safer place to move to.
I saw something on social media recently. It was, interestingly, it was one from California and one from Sydney. And both places, at some point in my life, I've always thought, not always, at some point in my life, I've thought I could perhaps set a life up there. That kind of seems to be pretty Ryan. And in actual fact, what you've got crazy people. in California, going up Runyon Canyon, which is where we got engaged, and they just set fires. And you've got all these people hiking, running, walking up the canyon, being like, what in God's name are you doing? You've just set a fire. This could easily spread to the homes above in the hills, and this could wipe out more of our beautiful part of the world. What? It's completely mental. This guy gets arrested. They contain the fire, but it's not an easy job. There's like 6 trucks. There's helicopters dropping water. So America, to me, at least the parts that I know and I'm drawn to, is not what I thought it was. And that's become like an increasingly more obvious realization. And when I see dads who are just exercising their free speech, and let's be real, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't listen to these things. I consume such little in the way of world news. But for that reason, I don't have a strong opinion about this. I can only speak from a sort of humanitarian kind of perspective, like what's right and wrong, what's good and evil. It's fucking evil. This guy got shot in the neck and bled out and died instantly on the scene. The other clip I saw was some person in Australia. I've been to Australia. I actually used to live in Australia when we were kids. Apparently people are now leaving the country at the drop of a hat because it's like the most heavily taxed place in the world. And
in Australia?
Yeah. So where would I want to move to? I have no idea, but it's not what I thought it was once upon a time.
I think it's the same with everything in life, is that there are pros and cons of everything, and that there's no perfect place to live. I mean, I've researched it a little bit. I think I do know people that are moving to Dubai. For me, the culture there is just so different to ours that I'm not sure I could adapt to that. It's also 40 degrees regularly.
No, I just wouldn't move to Dubai.
There are obviously quite strict like rules and regulations on things like drinking and smoking, not smoking, but alcohol consumption, and also clothing. And actually I learned that I think 90% of the population in Dubai are international. How interesting is that?
Not really, because it's a tax haven.
Oh, well, they obviously do that to then attract all of the international people to live there.
It's not the place for me. I can tell you it's not the place for you as well.
I also think whilst it is a tax haven, tax haven sounds really dramatic, doesn't it? There's very low tax. It's very expensive to actually live well when you're there. If you want to eat out and you want to travel by car and you want to, do whatever you want to do. I then thought about South Africa, obviously, because I used to have some ties there. Members of my family had, I spent a lot of time in South Africa growing up. It's relatively affordable comparatively to the UK. The childcare is amazing. The nanny system is amazing. It's obviously got a great climate. You've got the beach, like the food's incredible.
Where's the but?
The but is that it's really dangerous still. Right. So unless you've got a private gate outside your house and you've got a chauffeur, like people can't really leave after dark because the crime is so out of control. Because the value of life there is a lot lower than the value of life here.
Well,
so you're at risk of that. And then also there are things like the infrastructure is not as good. So there'll be regular power cuts. There's also water shortages. I don't know.
No,
I know
exactly
people
right.
that did move there. Actually, when I was a child, my brother and my family were staying at my aunt's house, which was out kind of on a vineyard. And there was someone came and tried to burn down the house when my parents and all of the adults were out for dinner, and we had a nanny looking after us, and they set fire to the curtains in the house, and the majority of the house actually burnt down. And that's the sort of thing that you could be dealing with much more regularly than here. Well,
it does make you think a little bit differently.
At least we're safe here, and like our NHS isn't completely flawed. There is a public health service, although that's all changing. There is good education, and it makes you question like whether it's just worth paying the tax for. There are some funny old new policies in Italy, I think, where if you're a really high income earner, that tax is capped at 100,000 euros perhaps. So that's very attractive for a lot of people. I mean, if you're looking at that, like you've got to be earning enough money for that to then be a sort of cheap amount of tax to be paying comparatively to here. So people are moving there. Portugal has benefits. Where else do people move? I don't know. I think Switzerland's nice. It's clean. It's safe. Jersey. So a few of our friends we were speaking to on the weekend about this.
That wasn't friends. That was my family.
Okay, well, they're also our friends. Friends and family.
Yeah, it's just my biological brother. He's our friend.
Well, their best friends have moved to Jersey, haven't they? We know some nursery friends that live in Jersey. My
answer to your question was where I once thought that I would maybe take a shot at a new life, it would be in those places. It just wouldn't be the case now.
Well, I would never go to Australia. It's way too far away. Like I couldn't be that far away from my family.
Yeah, fair enough.
Could you? Your mum would be devastated.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could go to Australia, but I feel like I could step away from life here and go somewhere new. Maybe I've become so accustomed to that from life in the military, or at least family life in the military. I'll tell you this though, I'm going to Sweden in a few weeks with a brand I work with, Thule, big ups. And I'm going to Malmo, which is in the southern part of Sweden. I've only ever been to Stockholm once with you. That's more Northern Territory. And that's quite close to Finland, up there in the northern part of Sweden. So I'm going to be down here in a place called Malmo. Across the way is Denmark, Copenhagen. Can I go to Copenhagen whilst I'm there? I'm quite keen to maybe extend my trip for a day.
Sure.
But the reason I mention those countries, those Scandi countries, is that they are very often voted as best quality of life, specifically Denmark and Norway. But then you always say the same thing about, but aren't they like dark?
Isn't it really dark for like 70% of the year? I could not live in the dark.
Places that are north of the Arctic Circle, so like northern Finland, northern Sweden, at certain times in the year don't see sun, yes.
How would you be able to handle that?
Oh no, not very well.
That can't be good for your mental health though. We all need... Although maybe if I'm going to be a vampire now, that actually works quite well. I bet they have low rates of skin cancer.
Oh yeah.
Also, there were those viral videos that went round probably like a year or so ago with all of the mums leaving their kids in prams outside shops because it's that safe. They could just leave their kids to sleep in the outdoors.
But they do a lot of things.
Major cities, which is mental or outside libraries and things. I would never be able to do that. Imagine just leaving Leo in a pram outside the front. Any takers?
No, I know.
He'd get kidnapped in a second.
But doesn't that speak volumes to just their culture and what sort of people they are? I think it's amazing.
Well, actually, the safest places to live. Apparently, Ireland's very safe.
Do you know what? I've got limited.
Iceland. Why don't we just take ourselves off to the middle of nowhere?
Did you say Iceland?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Geography field trip.
I'm excited to go to Sweden.
How long are you going for?
Well, maybe an extra day now you've given the green light for Copenhagen.
I don't think that you're... Do you like travelling on your own? Have you done much travelling on your own?
No, I haven't, but I'm up for it. I just want... I actually read a book, The Scandi Way to Parent or something like that, and it was touching on all these things that you just mentioned. I want to see it in play. Segue on to helicopter or hummingbirds. You're a helicopter, mate, I can tell you.
What, you want to talk about helicopter parenting and hummingbird parenting?
Well, I mentioned...
This is the concept that I have brought into the household.
Oh, well done. What are you?
Because I'm a
Professor
helicopter
Thompson. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you've admitted it because you are.
I'm kidding.
No, you are. You're a helicopter.
Why don't we go into the analogies then? So there are two different kinds of parenting. Helicopter parenting is noisy, it's controlling, it's circling closely. It's like a helicopter on a mission to find a baddie. Like it's constantly looking out for danger, and it's
Louise Thompson.
Okay, that's actually not fair. Hang on. We can joke about this. I am actually an incredible mother.
Oh, this is all down to how you perceive this information. What you just said isn't a bad thing. It's just your style. You do look out for danger. You are always on overwatch. You don't really let go and let him free play in some situations. In some you do. You're very like eyes on, hands on. I
give him a lot of, I'm attentive. I'm attentive.
No, but this is you don't have to be defensive about this. You are a helicopter parent.
I wouldn't say you're a hummingbird parent. Once a hummingbird is a lot quieter. So a hummingbird's obviously the preferable parenting style, guys. If we're comparing, a hummingbird is quiet. They still watch on. They're fluttering above like a cute little bird, whizzing around.
Yeah,
and they're ready to step in and eat the worm when they need to.
You're showing insecurity. It's down to perception of this. Hummingbird, I'm not saying hummingbird's better.
No, I think hummingbird is better.
Again, like parenting isn't like, oh, you should be like this, or like, you as a female and as a mother have your natural instincts and your way of parenting. It's always going to be different to the father because we're biologically programmed differently.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So, if I'm going to sit here and say I'm more of a hummingbird, that's not me trying to win this debate.
No, I know.
That's just because I know that I'm actually, I've just cycled him to nursery. You would have shat yourself about 15 times knowing that he's riding a bike on a pavement where you've got other cyclists, scooters, you got traffic coming at you. When we crossed the road, I mean, I won't even tell you, but nothing happened.
What happened? Tell me, because you're going to tell me.
Well, no, nothing really happened. But the point is, if you were there, you would have reacted in a very different way.
But you just said nothing really happened. So what did happen?
No, okay. Well, I can pluck something from recent weeks. A car, as we crossed the central part of the road, a car saw me. Didn't brake quick enough, then saw him, then broke hard. So it was like a double take. It's like, oh, there's a kid there. Whap! I'll put the brakes on. But it wasn't close. It was just, I know the driver knew that I clocked his reaction to it because he saw me and he was like, oh, that dude can wait. And then he saw the little bike come out and it was pump the brakes hard. Now, if you were there, you would have got very scared, which I'm not saying is wrong. I just said, I acknowledged it. Thank you. I said, Leo, we can go. Nothing, and a situation didn't become a situation, if that makes sense. And that's why I would say I'm a hummingbird.
Yeah, I don't like to even think about the idea of my son being in a dangerous scenario because I'm very protective. But I think it's important for him to have both because he needs to know the risks of dangerous things out there in the world.
But I don't dispute that.
You're super relaxed.
I don't dispute that, but
we meet in the middle.
Quite right, but that's what a child needs.
You take best of the both.
You need a bit of that, then
best of both
bit
qualities.
of that in there.
I guess if you're a parent that's listening, you're probably going to go away and Google what a hummingbird and a helicopter parent are, and then figure out where you sit on that spectrum. Because it is quite important to know, isn't it? Like you need to give your child independence, but not too much. Like I have friends growing up whose parents were incredibly controlling. They had to learn several languages. They had violin lessons after school every evening. They did something called Suzuki, which is like this really full-on like specialist violin practice. And I think actually for like half of the children in their family, it paid off. And for the other half, then they ran a mile and went completely the other way. Like sometimes it can cause rebellion. I think I was very lucky because my parents gave me all the tools I needed to choose to do whatever I wanted. I had lots of opportunity to try lots of different things. I wasn't pushed into anything. And they did let me learn from my own mistakes. But then again, and I wrote about this in my book, like one of the things that I held over them as bad parenting as I got older and started doing therapy and working with a life coach was that I thought that they should have cared more when I was out drinking and partying a lot. And I wanted someone to be boundaried when it came to that. I wanted like a firm set of hands to kind of like hold over me. I wanted someone to grab my hand, take me and steer me in a different direction, say, no, you cannot do that. And I kind of like pushed to get that and I didn't get it.
Well, I didn't really challenge my parents in that way. And I guess I was fortunate that my parents stayed together as a couple.
Were your parents quite controlling? Like, did they tell you what you needed to do? Were they quite firm with you? Or were they pretty... Did they let you be independent and make your own mistakes? And
I had boundaries. Yeah, that was equal parts of my mum and dad.
I also imagine, though, that your mum would have been very sensitive. And she would have been very... Is it risk averse? She would have been...
warrior, yeah.
She is a warrior, so she would have been very worried about you getting into trouble or danger.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's good to have a mixture. Then you end up with a balanced child. You don't want two panic parents and you don't want two kind of super relaxed parents.
Yeah.
Works well for us.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Spoken about a lot of random things there. I really enjoyed the listening bit. I'm going to take that away with me.
Do you remember it? I won't test you again, don't I?
And remember to check your moles.
Thanks very much.
Cheerio.